What goes up must come down. What holds in physics is also true in economics, evidenced in recent commodity price plunges. Although crude oil floods the media headlines these days, similar tumbles have come to characterize other industrial commodities as well. What can Newton teach us about commodity prices? Lots. In the lead up to the 2008 financial crisis, the price of West Texas Intermediate crude oil skyrocketed to US $145 per barrel. Economic collapse felled prices to $30 before year end. Then worldwide public stimulus sparked a price surge of 270% over the next 2.5 years. Traders were convinced that supplies were tight, keeping prices high. However, in 2014, West Texas Intermediate began a 65% plunge, which took it as low as $38 in August. For its part, copper climbed from 80 cents US a pound in January 2000 to $4.34 in January 2011, before slipping to $2.33 in August 2015. So what gives? The massive and unprecedentedly coordinated public policy response to the crisis is an often overlooked driver of commodity prices during the most recent cycle. Apart from the impact that fiscal stimulus had on demand, central bank asset purchases, first in the US, then in the UK, the EU, and Japan, injected a vast pile of liquidity into the system. Access to cheaper credit spurred emerging market growth and demand for commodities. Stockpiling became common. China's share of global consumption alone for commodities across the spectrum is now at least 1/3 of the global total. In addition, investors funneled stranded cash into commodities in a search for yield, artificially boosting prices. But as it's said, there's no cure for high prices quite like high prices. In 2000, U.S. production averaged about 5.8 million barrels per day, falling to a low of 5 million barrels per day in 2008. High prices then boosted investment, and U.S. crude production shot skyward. In fact, by 2014, the U.S. became the world's top crude oil producer, thanks to increased findings and higher well productivity. Shale oil became more economical by employing techniques similar to those developed for shale gas, lifting proven reserves to over 48 billion barrels in 2014. Horizontal rigs now drill multiple wells, some in 11-kilometer stretches. Offshore rigs have moved further out, drilling to depths of over 12 kilometers. Not to be left behind, steam technology helped Canadian crude production climb by over 1 million barrels per day this past decade. Natural gas production has also benefited from unconventional technologies. The U.S. has known for years about its shale gas potential. Proven reserves in 2005 stood at 5 trillion cubic meters, but thanks to the perfecting of techniques like fracking and horizontal drilling, shale gas has become more economical. Proven reserve ballooned to 9.8 trillion cubic meters by 2014, and U.S. production climbed from 511 to 728 billion cubic meters. Once avidly pursuing imports, the U.S. is now seriously considering gas exports. Meanwhile, advancements in technology have simultaneously tempered demand for energy. Universally, countries require less than 1/2 of a barrel of crude oil today to produce $1,000 of GDP, compared with almost a full barrel in 2000. Consequently, U.S. consumption has slipped by about 1 million barrels per day since 2007. On the copper side, producers seeking to cut costs have resorted to recycling. Since the metal is fully reusable, about 1/3 of the total global copper supply is now made up of recycled material. As a result, the world has mined less than 15% of known resources to date. For their part, builders have cut the amount of copper pipe used in the average 2-story North American home by 150 pounds over the past 30 years by substituting it with cross-linked polyethylene pipe. Well, the bottom line, quantitative easing boosted commodity prices. and a consequent wave of investment, together with a surge in recovery-enhancing technology, created the supply-demand imbalances that undermined prices. Consumers reacted to higher prices by conserving or substituting. At the same time, anticipation of a large-scale withdrawal of quantitative easing will shrink the liquidity that fueled the resurge in prices. The interplay of these forces has caused prices to fall hard, from which point they'll rise modestly through the medium term. Until next week, I'm Peter Hall.